Well, hello. I'm now live. Good morning. There was some question as to what was happening with LinkedIn. So, good morning. Erin here, turn your messaging into magic. And I want to talk about something very different, sort of off the beaten path from what I've been talking about so far. And that is turning 40 and like what that's meant for me on one level, but also um, some of the things that I learned. So the last 3 weeks have been some of the most insane in my business. I had a couple of deadlines falling on top of each other, which was unplanned, and it's just the way things work out sometimes. And then we had some other things come up within our family, which meant that I needed to push things. And I had some amazingly understanding clients and who gave me the space to make sure that what I was turning out was really good and was exactly what the client needed to have. So I always appreciate that. I also really don't like asking for more time. But time is a funny thing, right? My husband and I flew to Vegas for our first vacation together, like our first away, like further than a 3-hour drive, vacation away together since before we had kids, which is 10 years ago. And it was really, really good. My best friend met us there. She's a client as well. And so we got an awful lot done. We got some really amazing conversations, and I met some of, and not her clients as well, but some of her colleagues as well. And so that was extremely interesting. It was great. And we talked almost nothing about the business, but it was all about forming the relationships. And to be fair, we talked an awful lot about business and merchandising and like that extra touch, that je ne sais quoi that our hotel in Vegas had. And by the way, it's the Aria. They do an amazing job in all the touches. Like it's like hands down incredible, from the service, from all the people, from everything. And you pay for it, right? Like it's not something where you're like, oh, I'm just going to go stay for, $100 a night and grab some tacos on the way to a show. That's not what it is. And that's not what we were there for. We were paying for the experience. So what I really want to talk about is building relationships, some of the takeaways from Vegas, which I have a post that I just made on LinkedIn, but also what it means for, getting there in person, like how you can build the relationships, how you can deliver this super high-end experience for your customers or clients, and how you can deliver and make people feel good, because that's what everyone is really in the business of doing. We're in the business of getting results. We're in the business of making people feel good, if not from a physical wellness standpoint, then from a standpoint of like feeling good about their choice, feeling like they have more confidence to take action, whatever that is, feeling like they have the tools that they need to do the thing, feeling like everything is performing as it's supposed to, and maybe even dropping some really cool little surprises to extend that experience. So I want to kind of share what that looks like. And I really, it's interesting. We're in the business of a lot of things, as I've said today, but we're in the business of creating these automations. We are in the business of automating relationships. And the truth is that there's no substitute for developing a relationship based on trust, based on mutual interests, based on all of these like conversations that never come up organically unless you're there one-on-one. And so, I feel like when we're on Zoom calls, excuse me, the dry desert air messed with me a little bit. But when we're on these Zoom calls, it's fantastic. Like there is no better substitute than Zoom or a phone call, or really getting to know someone, seeing the whites in their eyes, seeing the emotions on their face and connecting. But there is a firm beginning and a firm end. And I guess you can say that of most meetings. But the truth is that when you are in person, opportunities come up. It's like It's like, hey, let's go check this out, or hey, let's go do this thing, or you sit next to someone in the lobby and you strike up this conversation, and you never know where it's going to go. And so part of building relationships is being able to see these opportunities. So how can we accelerate that? And that's something that I'm going to be thinking of very carefully moving forward. How can we authentically accelerate that conversation? Because there are very easy ways to get to know someone without having them in person. But it's like you've got to figure out how you can create these chance encounters that really accelerate that. Like if you are a community-driven business and you are in the coffee shop, you might see someone that you do business with in line, right? Or someone that you want to connect with. And I think that's why golf trips are so fantastic, because you've got all the time on the golf course. Clearly, I'm not a golfer. I drove a beer cart when I was in college, and that's about my extent with golfing. But it's like you've got these conversations that have nothing to do with golf that are coming up because you're just together for several hours. I have no idea how long a game of golf takes, but that's what's really interesting about that. It's the same thing at physical conferences. There is no way to replicate those those conversations that happen in online. The people that you bump into in the bar afterwards, if we're going there, the people that you bump into in the hall outside of the conference, all those people are really, really important to have conversations with. So then again, like coming back to this, what is the lesson from that for what we can do moving forward? What is the lesson from that for how you can not only enhance these chance encounters to make something really, really authentic and real and fun and delightful and solve people's problems? How can you encounter that? Part of it's social media, absolutely. Part of it's doing this really deep dive into your customer research, into understanding the real problems that keep people up at night, understanding how all of this works. And it's particularly interesting to me because I have built this business exclusively online. I started in 2019, and it was pre-pandemic, but Zoom was still my life. And that is still how I've built most of this, really until the last 6 months or so, from the sole perspective that I had small kids at home and it was difficult for me to get out. So how can we do this moving forward? How can we accelerate this, do some traveling, remain sustainable, keep our carbon footprints low, right? Like all the things that matter, but still get in front of real human beings who are our ideal clients. And I think part of that comes, as I said, from doing a deeper dive into your customer research, into your buyer personas, into getting a deep understanding of what makes them tick, but also creating these additional opportunities to connect and share authentic bits of information. There is value, certainly, to curating the experience. So much value to curating that experience. But what happens when you no longer have an experience to curate, right? What happens when life happens and it's unscripted? Part of it means that you've got to leave room for some unscripted stuff in your life. My friend, who you may have seen on here, Jen Jusick, who I probably just butchered her name, she writes every day and she makes a space to do that. And so she's able to create those chance encounters. And I think that's super cool and super interesting. So that's one way. But what if you're not a writer? Maybe a chance to create some of these chance encounters and to give people a real behind the scenes glimpse into your life and how it relates to whatever it is that you want to talk about. Maybe there's value there in creating opportunities to go live. Maybe you go live once or twice a day. Maybe you don't have the opportunity to go live and you're speaking to the notes app on your phone. There's all these different ways that you can step out of your comfort zone, step out of this curated, tightly planned experience to make it real, make it personal, make it super deep. So that's the one side of things. But then the next side is, how do you add this really cool touch to really pump up the value? Part of it is doing what you say, what you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. But the reality is sometimes life happens. Life happened to me, certainly before I went to Vegas, and I had to ask for those deadlines. And I think part of it is, giving yourself the space to be able to ask because you do so damn good most of the time. The other side of it is looking at opportunities. Raven Douglas, who I, am totally like business crushing on, I don't know, whatever, how I can say that. She is an amazing UX copywriter. And she's always talking about how there's an opportunity. Every touch point is an opportunity to enhance the experience. And so what does that mean? Like, how can you create every touch point at the Aria? They have these super cool, like their app is incredible for how you can check in, check out. I was checked into the hotel before my plane landed, certainly before we got to the gate. So we could just go right up to our room. And that's may or may not be like this brand new, amazing thing, but it was new to me. And I thought, wow, that is a really cool touch. Like every sculpture, every architectural detail is so well thought out. So how does that portray to online business? When we were at the Virgin in Nashville, part of it was a really cool, like pictographs on, again, it's on their signage. They had some really cool brand standards that just added to this touch throughout the building. I'm just thinking, I'm thinking when we were at Cirque, when we were on Fremont Street, like every bit of that is curated, but there's a space again for the spontaneous, for the other encounters, for the things that are going to come up, the strange details that come up that you will never be able to talk about. And so when we're here in our online businesses in our homes, it might be like a cat wanders in, or a kid comes through, or there's some kind of hooting and hollering, or your internet drops, or there's something that comes up. You like admire someone's amazing new mermaid cup that they got for Mother's Day, and that actually happens to match their dress. There's all these things that you can do that you can notice, but it doesn't necessarily add to that high-end touch. So part of this touch is listening. I think part of it's paying deep attention, not just to what your buyer personas want, but to what people say, so that you're paying attention to those details and remembering them. There's other opportunities to say, oh, look, we can make this look really polished with our branding, so it's consistent. There's some surprise gifts that you can deliver that don't take you a whole lot of extra effort, but that give that extra je ne sais quoi, that extra touch that makes people say, oh, wow, it reinforces their decision to buy from you. And even though they've already purchased, like, how can you continue to re-enroll them and show them that this is such an amazing idea? My friend who I was in Vegas with, we actually worked on a follow-up sequence for her. We learned that her sales team was diligently following up, but that their emails weren't quite where they needed to be to really generate these conversations. So what we've done is we've completely reworked the way that follow-ups happen. This is before they purchase, but we've also reworked over the last couple of years her client onboarding sequences, how she's combining, like really bridging the online world, which is where people expect to be catered to, with the in-person experiences and that personal touch, because she sells a really high-end product. So how can we do these things? How can we make people go, aha, this is the person for me. There's a reason I'm in with this business. It's because they care about me. They care about my success. They care about whatever it is that you're helping them achieve. If it's wellness, they want to see you succeed. They want to see you enjoying what you're doing. And part of that speaks to your ethics, I think, as a business and a business owner. Part of that speaks to what you want to deliver. Part of that speaks to building this relationship that, yeah, you're not taking a transactional approach, that this is, transactions are great. You're in business to make money. Your client's in business to make money. But the reality is that when you show that you care, people really stand up and take notice. And there's lots of little ways that you can do that. There might be an opportunity to improve that you see. It might be someone, I can't even speak right now, but it might be an opportunity to say, I think that's a great idea for down the road, but I think that's more ambitious than we want to take on, because we also care about your sanity. So what if we were to say, make this a July goal instead of a May goal, just so you're still working towards it, but to give yourself the space to think it through and make sure that it's really the right thing. There are so many ways that you can do this, right? maybe it's seeing a speaking opportunity for a client and being like, you need to go here. Like, I think this would be great for you. Um, all the things. So anyway, I really hope that this has been beneficial to you. It has been beneficial to me, certainly, to explore it and talk about it. And I want to leave you with one other note. We are in business. Most of us went into business because we have a specific skill and we want to help people. But the purpose of your business is, unless you are a nonprofit, it is to earn a profit. It is to make sure that you're making money. So it's okay to charge what is profitable to you. Vegas certainly does it. Like, Vegas is not cheap. So what can you do? How can you do that? And the way that you earn that is with these higher touches that build on the relationship. So I would love to chat with any of you about any of this. This has been an interesting conversation, as I said, from my perspective. And I will be back tomorrow. The next couple of days, I have some awesome guests. We are, it would help if I was looking at the right day on the calendar. Tomorrow, Sue Bonus from Codewords coming on. And then Thursday is Jacob Sukow, who is one of my friends from the last year who has amazing energy. And I'm very excited for both of these conversations. So I look forward again to chatting with you very, very soon and hope that you have an incredible week.